Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
First this morning, leaving the EU could cost £100 billion to the UK economy and cause the loss of almost 1 million jobs. That's according to a report commissioned by the Confederation of British Industry, or CBI. The analysis by the accountancy firm PricewaterhouseCoopers says household incomes could be between £2,100 and £3,700 lower in the event of a Brexit. Well, if that isn't Project Fear, I don't know what is, Chuka.
No, it's perfectly legitimate to point out the risks involved in us leaving, but of course the Stronger In campaign that I'm hands on the table, that I'm a part of, are also telling the story about the things that we stand to gain by continued membership. But what the CBI is saying here, and let's not forget they represent over 150,000 businesses employing over 7 million people in our country, is that if we leave, it could cost up to 100 billion and we could see the loss of almost 1 million jobs. Now, that's research, and there will be, and it should be taken notice of because of who the CBI is, but of course there'll be research on the other side as well. And for me, it isn't just an economic issue, this is about how we see our country, how we amplify the great in Great Britain. We're already a fantastic country, to make sure that we can achieve good, tangible things for our people at home and abroad.
Right, well, on those figures, because it is a serious organisation, as Chuka says, voters would be mad to vote to leave the EU.
Which is a serious organisation? PwC?
CBI?
10 million from the EU 2 years ago.
Are you saying those figures are actually wrong?
Yes,
then?
I am, actually. What I'm saying is a number of things. Firstly, the employment numbers they cite essentially assume there is no low-skilled immigration in the next few years, and that's where the employment disappears. That's the first thing. Secondly, one of the ex-members of the Monetary Committee tweeted a little while ago that the difference, we're talking about over nearly 20 years, that they're forecasting is less than the change in the forecast between the autumn statement last year and the budget this year. You know, it's tiny.
Difference in tone, though, wasn't there?
But I agree with Chuka on one thing, and it's that this is not about finely balanced forecasts. They have made a lot of mistakes in terms of where they see the negotiation going and so on, but put that to one side. The simple truth is this is about how we see our country. You know, we have got a great country. You know, is it a country that can stand on its own 2 feet? Is it a country that can do a better deal with free trade than Europe has done for it in the past? Is it a country that can grow off the back of this? My view is yes.
Right.
Because view is no. This report, frankly, is an irrelevance.
By the way, actually, it's interesting you should raise former members of the Monetary Policy Committee, because the head of economics who oversaw the production of the PwC report is a former member of the Monetary Policy Committee, as Andrew Sentence.
And didn't think to point out how small a difference is, which is actually the point I'm making.
He clearly thinks, though, that it will have a detrimental effect on our economy. But in the end, I mean, look, I wouldn't argue that if we leave the European Union, we couldn't stand on our own 2 feet.
No, but would it be better? But would it be better? I mean, the question then, if we put the figures aside, because you say that's not going to win or lose the arguments, although it's interesting that whenever we do have both sides on, you do go for the figures and on the economics. But let's put those aside to one moment. Will you be able to convince people that they wouldn't be liberated or better off if there were, if there was a vote to leave the EU? Because that's the proposition that's being put by the other side.
But the thing is, I don't buy the notion that we're shackled by the European Union that the other side are putting. If you look at votes on the European Council, on 9 out of 10 occasions, 9 out of 10 times, we are on the majority side. So I don't buy this kind of talking down of Britain's influence in the European Union when we get run over, because that doesn't happen.
Well, but David Davis, there are two things.
I mean, I've been there. I've negotiated in this council. I know how it works. 72 times in the last 10 years or so, we have tried to stop the European Union. 72 times we've lost.
How many times have we succeeded?
A more fundamental point. Well, the simple truth is that the countries try to avoid falling out with each other. But, we are the ones who have been outvoted.
So it's even more times because we try and avoid not falling out.
We have been outvoted more times than any other country in the European Union.
But David Davis, let me put you,
Latvia, nobody has been outvoted as many times as we have.
Has this country done so badly? being part of the EU? Because a lot of it has been under, in recent times, of course, it's been under a Conservative government that says that this country has done well economically, that it is the Conservative government that has kept Great Britain out of the euro crisis. I know originally the decision was under Labour, but out of the euro crisis, not part of Schengen.
Major, actually,
so has it? So what is it that you're liberating Britain from?
You can, if you look. I mean, if you want to talk the history, if you look at the history of Britain, when we joined in '74, we were doing badly. Or '73, we were doing badly because we had, in terms of exports to Europe, we were never very good at that. We sold to the Commonwealth, never to Europe. When we joined, we did really well. Let's be clear about this. We did really well for about 20 years in what you might term the common market period. Since the single market period, which everybody thought was a common market squared, actually we've done relatively poorly, less well than countries outside the European Union in selling into Europe. So the answer is...
Finish your point.
I will, but there's plenty of evidence to show you if you really want to look at it. But look at this whole issue of free trade area negotiations. Not just Europe, but to other parts of the world.
But we can negotiate other bilateral agreements as well.
We can't. Let me finish it. We can't.
Briefly, though.
We can't do it. When they do it for us, in 2/3 of the cases where they do free trade areas, our growth rate in the exports to those countries goes down.
Right. Chuka, reply and then we must move on.
Well, look, we have the benefit not just of the fact that we don't have tariffs when we're selling goods to the European Union, our biggest export market, almost 50% of our export market.
And you're assuming we would have tariffs imposed?
Yes, I mean, but we also have the benefit of over 50 trade agreements with other countries. And the point is that I'm not going to be disingenuous and say we couldn't reach a trade deal with other countries, but I think we have much more bargaining clout. When, say, we're negotiating with China, we're sitting on one side of the table, 500 million other people, negotiating with China and its 1.3 billion
where is
people.
The European deal
I don't believe...
Where is the European
Hang
deal?
on. No, we're going to have to finish it.
I don't believe we would have the same clout if we were sat on our own.
And on that basis, that conversation with David and Chuka was incredibly illuminating, as you've just been listening to. You'd be forgiven for getting rather confused with... No, I'm not. With all the facts and figures.
We should have stopped our